You are listening to Series 1 of the National Studios Film and Music Podcast. In this season, we're focusing on the marketing side of independent music, the steps you can take to ensure a successful release and begin building a fan base in an authentic and organic way. This is episode 1, an introduction to music marketing. Hello and welcome to our first podcast. My name is Jack Kircher and I'm from National Studios. And today I'm joined by Maddy and Alex. Hey guys.
Hello.
What business are you from?
We're from Burstimo. We're a music marketing company. We've been going just around 2 years, and we focus on emerging artists and basically getting them out there.
Amazing. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Basically, I make music for people. My company makes music for people. We make films for people, like a whole bunch of content. But actually getting people to see that content is like such a changing landscape, and it's really, really difficult. So I just wanted to get you guys in just to talk about like what is it to market stuff in today's day and age. Like it's changed a lot from 40, 50 years ago, and people are making amazing content, but it's just falling on not deaf ears because people want to listen.
Yeah.
It's just like not falling on any ears.
At all. Exactly.
So, this whole podcast series and all this conversation is just about like, what does it mean to market music in today's day and age? And a lot of that translates to music videos and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why don't you guys take us back? Like, let's talk about what PR was traditionally and let's go from there.
I mean, traditionally, I feel PR was very kind of basic and standard in its ways because there wasn't really many platforms to get out on. So you would basically be getting the product itself, the music, and you'd be looking to either get it placed in a magazine, get it placed on radio, all things like that. And then quite soon after, obviously, blogs were brought in. And that kind of took over the print. But only recently would we say that it's sort of completely taken over.
I'm trying to think what that actually was. If you go back to the 70s, there was like radio, magazines, and TV shows.
Yeah.
Was there anything else?
Yeah, people forget about TV.
TV shows were huge, weren't they? Like Top of the Pops was like everyone's go-to. That was what, if an artist was on that, everyone knew they'd blown up.
Yeah.
There's not such thing now. No one, there's no TV show where
never
someone...
have an emerging artist on it either.
No.
Yeah. And I mean, just a complete tangent. Like I just watched the Freddie Mercury film and there's that scene in it with Top of the Pops.
Yeah, it was huge for them.
It was huge for them, but they like had no creative control over anything. And like that was traditionally what it often felt like. You were told what to do as an artist.
Yeah.
And it's just changed so much.
There's so much more freedom with artists because there's so many more places for them to go out to. Like I said before, it was literally magazines, radio, TV, all things like that. Whereas now there's so many platforms and there's so many different ways for emerging artists to get out there that PR just isn't that anymore.
I think to break an emerging artist in kind of the 70s, you'd like find like an angle or do some kind of publicity stunt in order to get into the newspapers or something like that. And right now that kind of wouldn't work. You don't have enough of someone's attention now to sit and read a 10-minute article on a publicity stunt that was performed by a band or something like that. Or people don't sit and watch a full Top of the Pops episodes anymore. It's the attention. The
attention span's like so bad now that people won't watch that hour-long TV show. They would much rather scroll through Facebook or scroll through Twitter or watch a YouTube video that's only 5 minutes because attention spans are so short. Yeah. And musicians kind of need to take that into consideration.
It's so weird. Like it's almost your market, your audience are what decide the media now. They decide on the length. They decide on the structure. Yeah. Whereas before it was like a few people deciding it's an hour-long TV show. This is the way it is. This is the newspaper like campaign. This is the magazine campaign. This is the way it is. And readers were told what to digest. Whereas now, your audience totally decides how they consume your media. Exactly. And bands have to adapt to that. Musicians have to adapt to that.
Exactly. And that's why kind of marketing's had to adapt to that and massively because there are so many different outlets that you can look into that you can't just say, okay, we're going to get your music and we're going to get it on radio or we're just going to get you some interviews on some blogs because that won't impact the artist's career in the slightest. Yeah. All of those areas work as a sort of springboard to the other areas, but they don't break an artist. The areas that we're kind of looking at to actually break an artist now are all the streaming platforms, YouTube, just general social media, having a social media fan base. Before you even release any music, it can be what makes you massive. If you look at Atlantic Records recently signed some massive artists that they're now big, but they started off by just being viral. So there was the yodeling kid in Walmart. He was a viral video, and also the Catch Me Outside girl, she was a viral video, and they got signed to Atlantic Records because they knew that those artists were in demand, not because of their music, but because of their fan base.
Yeah.
And that in itself shows that you can create an audience first before releasing music, which was never before a thing.
And there's so many platforms to release that music as well.
Yeah.
So you got Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Music, Deezer. There's just a huge amount of platforms now just to upload your music.
So many.
So yeah, and that gives everyone the freedom to upload music to wherever they want and get the listeners and generate an audience wherever they like. And also, I think there's more music out there now than there ever is before, because
so much music.
I'm sure you can go into a bit more detail, but the fact that you can record in your bedroom and upload to SoundCloud and blow up from your bedroom, whereas traditionally you'd record a track and try and get signed.
You send off that demo to all the labels you could. That's not a thing anymore.
No, it's not at all. I mean, it might be actually helpful for like all you guys listening to actually know a little bit more about how we met and how we work together. So I'm in a band called Dutch Kid, and I have a studio at my house where we work on all the music, and everything you hear Dutch Kid wise, band wise, is like all home produced, all home mixed. We've got like a really good friend of mine, mastering engineer in New York, mixes all of it. But like it's super in-house. It's like all home produced. But like it goes out and people listening to it and stuff. Yeah. And that's why we contacted you guys initially, because I think we actually sent emails to like 5 or 6 PR companies. You might not even know this.
Yeah, I didn't know this.
You guys were the only people who replied with like not just a generic response. You went on our socials, you engaged with us, and we didn't like say we're going to go with you guys straight away, but it was like, I think you might have been following us on Instagram and stuff before we even started working with you. So we're like, it's really important to work with people who like our music, who are champions of our music and stuff like that.
Because you've got to understand the artist as well and what their strengths are, because the fact that you can produce music in your bedroom and it's just such high quality of music, then that is your strengths. You've also got amazing video production behind you, so that's what we use. So
but that before wasn't a thing. When in the past, if you had an artist, you would be looking at the music and that was it. You'd take that as kind of the product and you would try to sell it
and do the same thing for every single
It was
client.
very structured. If everything fitted into a timeline in the past, you would get your track and you would promote it to radio before release, and then when the track's released, you try and get it played on radio. It all fitted into a timeline, whereas now there's no definite structure, and that's why it's different for every single artist that you try and market.
But it's really exciting for an artist because you get to decide at this point in time. Like, as you get to decide what it means to release your music, you get to decide like actually how important is film to me, how important is photography, how does all of this fit in with my music. It's actually like a really fun thing that you can now do. It's not like you record your music and you give it all to someone else and they make videos around it. But actually an artist today, especially independent artists, like you're responsible for all of it. And that's a stressful thing. It's a hard thing, but it's really exciting because you get to choose how this thing goes.
And being able to create the thing that you want to create, and then the audience finds you. Whereas I think traditionally it would have been trying to create something for a mass audience that not only is going to appeal to the mass audience, it's going to appeal to the decision maker of the label who is going to put it to that mass audience.
But I think that's why the marketing is more important than ever, because it used to be you could actually end up getting on a blog or getting on radio because that producer discovered it or that journalist discovered you. Whereas now it's so competitive. There's so much music that kind of, from the marketing point of view, you have to have such a strong team behind you to work on it, because how else is it going to get there?
It's such an interesting point, because traditionally you had your music was made and you had a team of people marketing around you. Today, as an independent, like no one wants to sit down and figure out a marketing strategy. You just want to make music and that's all you do. You sit down, you make your music and you release it. Like that's all it is. It's all about you and your content. And actually another reason why we're talking today is my biggest frustration is, as a studio, we make films and music for lots of independent artists. Whether it's just mixing or stuff like that, we do that. And then it just gets released to the world, and they might have spent like a lot of money like making this album that's beautiful, it's amazing. Like they've thought about every detail, they've worked on it for a year, and then they expect to put it on iTunes or Spotify and it to go somewhere. But that's just not the case. It's just not at all.
Yeah, it's not. And sometimes it can stand there and less than 1,000 streams and just do nothing. I think there is a chance that it can get picked up and just blow up through the algorithm and the Discover Weekly playlist. Like today in 2018 is the first time you can actually say there is a chance you can upload your music to a platform and it will give you a fair shot. So we have just discovered artists ourselves where we've looked at their streams and they've got like 300,000. We look at the playlist they're on, no playlist, and it actually has been through the algorithm itself,
which is amazing.
Organic,
so that is actually an amazing opportunity for people right now, and I think it's quite reassuring to know that that's out there for artists. Especially, I think Spotify are the best at it right now for giving artists a fair shot. By just seeing how people are reacting to their track. And if it's really a positive reaction, they're adding it to their own playlist, they're just hitting the like button and things like that. That will actually trigger the algorithm to spread it out to more and more people.
And Spotify are killing the game on that now.
They are.
Apple Music have got a little bit of catching up to do.
I'd be really interested to look at Dutch Kids Spotify for artists and actually see what the ratio of from playlists to Discover Weeklies, where the streams are actually coming from, because I would be almost sure that it's Discover Weeklies.
I think like our Apple Music, we might get quite a lot of streams on Apple Music, but it all come from playlists. Like we're on the Today at Apple playlist, the alt pop playlist and stuff like that. That's where most of our streams are coming from, and it's significantly more than Spotify. But Spotify feels more like organic.
It is,
and it's just figuring out like what way do you want to go on that, and actually it's important to do both.
And I think what's so great about this day and age is if someone in the past read a review or feature of you in a magazine, they're not that likely to go listen to music, whereas if they kind of discover you on a playlist, that can be what makes them a life.
It's all marketed this is a playlist for you, this is music you'll like, and you're like, it is, I love this band.
They always get it right.
Great.
The algorithm is insane. It's always perfect.
And not to like discredit what we do, but it is 80% how good that track is to get it out there, and then we do the final 20% to get it out there and give it that extra push and act as a catalyst to the actual process. Because you can't just push bad music anymore. It's like the way the landscape is, it will just punish bad music now.
Cool. Well, I think next episode let's dive a bit more into the world of Spotify, Apple Music, and streaming and playlisting and stuff like that. I think like takeaway for me here is like actually it's the audience decides the temperature of the marketing game now. Like in terms of length, in terms of what they listen to, it's all based around the audience. So the Spotify algorithm is based around what this one person wants to listen to. Like people decide what videos they want to watch and stuff like that. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting.
No worries.
And we'll follow up this with some stuff about Spotify playlisting and algorithm stuff, which I don't know much about. So I'm excited to hear it.
Cool.
Great. See you guys next time.
Cheers.